Good evening, folks. It's me, Captain Logan, and tonight I am just kind of relaxing. It's my week off, just a few days before I'm traveling for Christmas, and I thought I would catch up on some painting. I haven't been painting at all the last few months with Heroes of the Grid, and I miss it. I started on Dino Thunder Red just last night. As you can see, he is partially done. I'm going to do some more of that right now, and I thought it'd be fun to just hang out with you guys while I did this. I was kicking around maybe doing a game stream tonight for the board game, and I was watching a movie with my family, and I wasn't able to set it up quick enough, I didn't think. It's 11 o'clock right now. I would have been probably 11:30 or midnight getting a stream together for that. So I thought, hey, why not work on this some more and see who is around and whom I like to chat while I'm doing this. So this is a real laid-back stream, not about anything in particular. I'm just going to work on this and answer questions and talk with you guys about whatever you'd like to while we're going. I'm going to adjust this camera just slightly because there's a purple light behind that is probably going to get irritating. But anyway, that's what I'm doing tonight. Hi, folks, in the comments there. I see the Senior Sticks. I see Derpy501st. Tom Atkins is there. Hayden Spring. Welcome, guys. How you doing? Tom Atkins says, my hands shake too much. I have that problem a little bit. This is actually a really good way to work on that, to cut down on that a little bit, I think. But yeah, so Dino Thunder Red. I have Dino Thunder Black done and white. Maybe after a while I'll run and grab a few figures to show you guys that I've painted already if anybody's interested, but I've got to do the rest of the team. So I've got yellow and blue sitting here as well. They have base coats on them from months ago. I think my mom might have done the base coats on these because she and I were painting. We get together occasionally and do this. She was painting ceramics all when I was growing up, and it was a big hobby of hers. Not a thing I ever got into until I got into Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid, and I've been, as a lot of you guys know, I'm 100% into that game. I buy everything that comes out. I've been hardcore into it for 2.5 years now, and I've been itching to do more content on the channel about it. I have 9 or 10 videos. We have some streams. We have some tutorials. Jason and I and his brothers have done various streams where we've played some games. We've won some, we've lost some, and I would love to do regular content on this game if I could find the time. If time were no issue, I would stream games and tutorial things and unboxings on a weekly basis for this game, either on this channel or opening something else up. There is not a dedicated Heroes of the Grid YouTube channel. I feel like I'm in a really good spot to do that with what I have and what I know. I'm not an expert. I don't know everything, of course, but I play it a lot. I know quite a bit, but I just don't have the time to do it. It drives me nuts. So anyway, Hayden Spring, how does Shadow Ranger play in the game? I've only played with Doggy Kruger a couple of times. I think Jason and or Freddy play with him more often than I do, and there's certain Rangers I'm a little bit rusty on because I haven't played with them a long time. So I don't remember exactly what his layout is like, but I remember liking him fine. Immediately when you asked that, Phantom Ranger came to mind, and he has this really weird gimmick where you pull his character like completely off the board and onto his character card, and then he can like jump in and out of battles, which is an interesting dynamic, but I can't remember exactly what Kruger's thing is. I remember, like, is he a bigger firepower guy, or is he's certainly not a support ranger, I don't think. I remember liking him quite a bit, but I haven't played with him enough. So I might try to put him in a one-player stream next time, one-player game next time I stream this game. Okay, let me go ahead and get started on this. So I need some white. Speaking of my mom, thanks to my mom for buying me some new paints for my birthday a few months ago. I haven't had a chance to break into them too much yet. I gotta do more of these spikes, these kind of diamonds, which I really don't miss from painting Mighty Morphin figures. I find them kind of hard. I find white in general kind of difficult. But this is kind of an intricate thing, getting this right. And I tend to be a little bit sloppy with it. I'm not going to lie. But got to put my best foot forward. Got to get them done. As soon as Dino Thunder finally came out, the first thing I thought was, yay, finally. one of my favorite teams and my favorite show getting into the game. And the second thought I had was, crap, but I'm going to have to paint them. The one that I am probably the most worried about painting, the most intimidated by, is Ecliptor from Power Rangers in Space. For the longest time, I was like, man, when that comes out, I don't have any idea how I'm even going to paint that. And then it came out. And if you're not familiar with his design, go look at it, because it's crazy. And all those lines are not on the figure. You have to make them up yourself. Lavina, do you have Nikolai? I'm not sure who that is. Is that a character that you know for sure is in the game that I'm just not remembering because it might be from a show I'm not familiar with, or somebody you'd like to see show up? I don't right off know who that is. Okay. You gotta water this down a little bit with the paints I'm using, and I kind of watered this one down a little bit more than I typically like to. Cedar Stakes, any Grid God figures? I don't know what that is. So I'm not a huge board game guy or paint hobbyist or anything. It's all about just this game for me, and it's a hobby that I imagine I will continue trying to do when this game is finally over with, but we've still got a good long time. Apparently, according to Scott Gata or Jordan Gata 1, working for Renegade, they have plans for at least 3 more years for this game. It's going to be difficult not to just put my head down while I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to figure out how to best paint comfortably and not look obnoxious or anything on camera. This is kind of easier when I was doing this with Ty, because I had somebody else you guys could kind of focus on when he was drawing. I'm a one-man band tonight, and I don't even have an accordion. I actually own an accordion, and I've been wanting to learn to play it. That's one of the things I'd like to do on this break this week, to get started anyway, but I don't know that I'm going to have time really to break that out. Tom Atkins, I would like an animated reboot of Dino Thunder with the animation style of Spider-Verse. It'll never happen, but I can dream. That would be really neat, wouldn't it? Lavina just says she was enemy, but for what show? What are we talking about? Hayden, Dino Charge would be ridiculous to paint because the arms are slightly different shades. That's true. Yeah, that'd be nuts. I can think of one figure where I had to deal with one arm that was different than the other arms, and that was Ranger Slayer, which was crazy. And those have like a black outline. So I just did a leg. Doesn't look the best. I'm going to have to go back in and probably touch this up a little bit. Oh, these are hard. I don't like them. And then something weird happened with my base coat with this figure. It's too thick, and there are some details that are obscured a little bit. I don't know how that happened. Oh, and it looks like I missed a bronze cuff, so I'm going to have to pull that paint out and do that as well. But let me try to... I'm going to attempt to get started on this other leg. But I just can't even hardly see... I got to get my light here. I can't even hardly see where the lines are. Okay, that's looking better than I expected, so that's good. Mystic Force. Yeah, so that's why I'm not familiar with that character. Okay. Yeah, that is not in the game. I think Mystic Force now... So the big box we just got, I'm not super familiar with yet because it has a bunch of Rangers and enemies from shows that I've never seen. The Light and the Darkness box is really neat because it's got like 5 Rangers and 5 enemies, each of which has a Ranger form and a bad guy form from various shows where that happens. And it's funny because Astronema is not one of them because we already got her in a different release. So I was kind of hoping that somehow or rather they could give us that in that box where you would get Astronema's regular form, like human form, because she was a Ranger in Lost Galaxy. But they haven't done that yet. They haven't done the Corone Ranger yet. But you got things like the bad guy from Jungle Fury Daishi, and he's really fun to play with. He has no attacks, but cards that attack in various interesting ways. The first time Freddy played with him, he was like, Dad, I think there's misprints here. I think it's wrong. I don't have any attacks. And we looked into it, and we realized that was on purpose, and it's neat. But anyway, I think Mystic Force has maybe 1 Ranger represented. But I would have to go to the box and take a look. Yeah, this leg is so weird because... Oh, I see. Part of it's because of his pose, where the straight out leg, they go across, the whole leg, it looks like. And then when he's crouched like that on the other leg, the whole diamond is just on one side. And I think that's part of why I was having a hard time finding it. There's 4 and 4. Okay, no, I've already got those. Okay, those are done. That looks okay. I'm going to give you guys a nicer close-up of this, although it's going to look sloppier than it does farther away. But I can adjust. Oh, where did I put it? 1 second. I had this set up, and then I dropped it out. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. Get my brightness going here, or my focus going here. Rather, okay, so I can adjust my focus here so that you guys can see this more close up. See, it's really hard to do these legs and not make it really sloppy, I'm finding, and I need to come up with a better method for this, because I am slightly embarrassed by that, honestly. It's good enough for the table, because, you're not looking at it too close while you're playing, and I always say, it's like, I'm not brilliant at this, and I've gotten better as I've gone along. Certain of my figures look a lot better than others. I think I'm better with monsters and stuff, where I can kind of be creative and do more of my own thing with them, and I just don't have certain techniques, I don't think, figured out for things like this yet, that I'm still kind of working on. But I always say, like, some color is better than nothing at all. It's much nicer to have these on the table with some of these details filled in than just, all yellow or all red, whatever the color is. Hello, Robert. How you doing, man? He just put in a super chat. $2. If DJ is the welder, is Cap the painter? Yeah, I'll have some kind of tragic backstory about how I didn't get good enough at this, and I got really jaded. Like I wanted to be a professional miniature painter, and that didn't work out for me. So I wanted revenge on the hobby world. Senior Sticks. If we got Psycho Rangers, but they were possessing humans, would that work? Yes, maybe. They've already put those out. We have the Psycho Rangers. We have 6 of them. We have the green one, and there's from the comics, and there's even a 7th sculpt now that we just got with Psycho Silver, which in the show was not actually a real thing, but Zane pretends to be Psycho Silver, and so that's a sculpt now where you can use that for Zane. Senior Sticks, you need tiny brushes. Yeah, and I have tiny brushes, but I still have a difficult time with certain details. And I do really small, intricate details all the time. It's just that shape, for some reason, I have a tough time with. It's like you got to get the outline of it and then fill in. And yeah, I kind of suck at it. I'm starting to wish I had. I'm a little bit self-conscious trying to do this on camera. I'm like, I should have picked something easier, but this is the one I was in the middle of. So I don't know. It was going better last night. 1 second. I'm spilling paint on my brush here. We are off to a marvelous start here, folks. Jared, if I could never do this, I would get frustrated easily. That's what I always thought, too. And I don't know if it just agreed with me weirdly. And maybe part of it is just it's fun because it's an IP I like a lot. Or if it's a thing that actually most of us could deal with in a way that we wouldn't think we could. I don't know. It's real hard to say, but yeah, I'm going to get rolling on the staff. And I'm going to go for a smaller brush for this. So I've got all these white lines I've got to do on the staff here. If I could on the smaller camera, I would adjust the focus so that I could put it up real close on that. But this is an old camera that is not giving me that option. So at some point, I'd like to get a nicer secondary webcam. Okay. All I can think about when I'm painting Dino Thunder Red is Super Dino Mode. I want figures that have that at some point. I wish the Lightning Collection would do that, where they've got the big spikes that jet out all over the body from the points, and then they're made of like foam or some kind of bouncy rubber, so that when you move the figure around, they just bounce everywhere. It would be really fun to get that for Heroes of the Grid too. That would really crack me up. And it would also be really fun to paint a Triassic variant. But they have probably done their bit so far, or for good now, on Dino Thunder. It was just such a big deal. I said this on the Dino Thunder commentary stream we did last week, but it was such a big deal to get, I mean, all that representation with the show in that game in general, but especially Zeltrax, who was a lot of fun to paint. Maybe after a bit I'll take a little break and I'll bring over some more figures to show you guys, including the other Dino Thunders. Okay. Senior Sticks, do you have a magnifying glass to help see it better? I really don't need one. You really get used to looking at the real tiny details. And of course it helps, I don't need it at the moment, but it helps to pull up photo reference. You see the details larger, and then you see, you know, what colors they are, and you can translate it pretty easily. I do think I would have trouble with that on a lot of other miniature games. Part of the reason that I got into this was it's a really good entry point for this kind of hobby, because these are so much larger than your average miniatures. Warhammer figures are a lot smaller than this. A lot of other games that are popular for board games, or pardon me, for miniature painting, are in a much smaller scale. And I don't know the official dimensions of this versus the others. I just know that they're a lot larger by like maybe half an inch or more. Senior Six, did you get Jason dancing shoes for a gift? No, he has to have all the shoes for dance, you know, always at the right size and in good shape and stuff, so it wouldn't really make sense to put that under the tree, because he just has to keep up with that all the time. He's got his tap shoes and his dance shoes, or his jazz shoes, pardon me. And sneakers that he dances in. Okay, I guess these don't go all the way to the middle of this staff. Well, it looks okay from far away. No, this isn't bad at all. Okay, what I do need to check, because I don't remember right off, this makes me a bad Dino Thunder fan, I guess, is are the gloves white, or do they stay red? I think, unlike Mighty Morphin, they just stay red, but I will double check. Dino Thunder red. Yep, just the red gloves. That's what I thought. Just pulling up some photo reference here. Is Trent's harder or easier being basic white? Harder. Yeah, definitely. And I had to do them twice because there is evil White Ranger and good guy White Ranger. I tell you what, I'll go grab those right now. Everybody just give me a minute. And thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you're having a good time. This is just a kind of fun, laid-back stream. I'm trying to make it as interesting as possible. Give me just a minute. Okay, so here is Trent. Here is Evil White Ranger. And of course, like I said, there's also a good White Ranger. I didn't grab him out. I've got him in a case that takes a little bit longer to get open and show you. Let me pull a window open again real quick. I keep closing that. There's a better look at Trent, Evil White Ranger. And yeah, I found those spikes really kind of tedious, but they came out okay, I think. The visor was especially fun to do. And then here is good old Zeltrax, my favorite Power Rangers henchman of all time. What is going on here? Oh, it's zooming. Pardon me. There you go. It was fun doing the little flecks of blue and stuff there. He's got his axe instead of his blue sword, or blue staff, which I thought was a little disappointing, but there it is. And then I showed this off on a stream the other day, again, when we did a watch party, but here is Mesgog from Dino Thunder, and I did his suit up like General Zod with the red trim. Took some liberties there, but the folks on the Heroes of the Grid Facebook page seem to think it was pretty cool. And then here's just a couple other things, if you're interested. This is probably not just my favorite character, but one of my favorite paint jobs that I came up with. I was really happy with this one. Here's my Lord Zedd, and he is like maybe the fourth or fifth thing I ever painted. I redid him at one point, and he looks even nicer now. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I got metallic paints, and so he's got a different color visor than the red on the rest of his suit. I did some dry brush work on him, and that was a lot of fun. And I don't mean to brag. I'm just glad that he did turn out okay, because I would cry if I ruined my Zedd, because he's the best thing in Power Rangers. And then here's some fun, hokey stuff. Last year, they put out a 2-pack where they did a holiday thing, and we just played with these again today because it's Christmas time. And if I do a stream sometime this week before I go out of town playing the game, I'll bring out at least Heximus. But we've got Santa Claus as a Power Ranger. Look at that. And designed by Dan Mora, who draws a lot of the things for the game, and who made, of course, one of my favorite graphic novels of all time, Klaus. And so we basically got this really cool crossover with Power Rangers and Klaus, and his suit is partly a Ranger suit. It's super cool looking. And he's a lot of fun in the game. He gives people cards as gifts that they can play, that they can reveal and find out what they are, and then use them. It's a fun gimmick. And today we did a Christmas stream, or stream, we didn't stream it, we did a Christmas game, me and a couple of my kids, where we made it simultaneously a, like, Tommy tribute thing, because Jason David Frank passed away, and we've done a couple Tommy games since that happened, but also Christmas. So we were playing with Santa and 2 Tommies. So we did Santa and White Ranger and Green Ranger for Christmas colors, with the white with snow, and then we did... there are a couple of different character cards you can use for Green Ranger. One of them gives you the Loner ability, which is his best ability. It gives you an extra die when you're fighting by yourself. But then he also has one called Gift of the Dragon that works a lot like Santa will later, because Santa Claus came out like 3 years after he did, 2.5, 3 years after he did. But one of the Santa Claus, you gift things to people and they don't know what they're getting, and it's the opposite of that with a Gift of the Dragon. But I thought it'd be cool to put both gift things in there, and it ended up being a really fun dynamic. This is just for folks that have played the game and know what I'm talking about. But anyway, here is Heximus, and a lot of little details on him. He took me probably 3 whole days, a couple hours a day, to paint. And I really enjoyed that. He was one of my favorite things to do. Like I said, I really enjoyed doing the monsters. Anyway, I'm going to check out your comments here and get back to Connor here. Not to be confused with Connor Nielsen. Let's see what folks are saying. Robert, I have finished my Christmas shopping. I had to go get stuff for stockings today, and now I'm all done. I finally finished my Christmas shopping. Thomas Lowe, Sir Cap, are you a rusher or a dragger when you're painting? I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on what it is. If if I'm like really into it and really excited about it, I kind of take my time. And if it's a thing that I just want to get done for the table, but I'm not really digging the design or anything, I guess I rush a little bit more. But yeah, it's kind of a neat question. Movie Power Rangers are over armored senior sticks. I agree. Somebody asked why I was here because I was taking off from. I mean, I'm taking off from regular streaming, but I wanted to pop in and hang out with you guys just for fun a couple of times this week if possible. Jareth, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Okay, let me get back to this. I'm going to take like 3 times longer doing this figure than I usually would. What am I doing here? Let me get his... You know what? He's actually pretty close to done. I've got to do his gun after I get finished with this other cuff that I somehow missed yesterday. Here's my giant tub of paints. And we're going to need copper. Wait, was it copper or bronze? No, it was bronze. Okay, so I did his symbol and those cuffs in bronze, and so that's what I'm going to need right now. And sometimes when I do smaller details like this, I'll cheat a little bit, and I won't feel the need to dilute the paint as much, and I'll just take right out of the cap. Just put a lot less paint on the brush in the first place. And you can get away with not diluting it as much. And of course, it depends on what kinds of paints you're using. Some model paints I have found come pretty watered down in the first place, and it doesn't really make any sense to put more water on them. I'm finding this is a hard thing to do while I'm talking and not mess things up. I have gotten a little bit of crap from a couple people on the Facebook group who have noticed when I'll post, because I'm pretty active there on the Power Rangers Renegade tabletop Facebook group. It used to be just Heroes of the Grid, but they have several games now. They have an RPG, a role-playing game, which I've not gotten into yet. I would like to. I've thought about it. It's just finding the time, and I've never been an RPG guy, or I should say tabletop role-play guy. But I have started getting into the deck-building game, and I have the first two main boxes they put out. And then there's a couple of expansions and a couple of other big boxes that I haven't gotten into yet, just because I've only played the game twice total. We still do Heroes of the Grid, pretty frequently for what little time we have right now to play with games. With my twin girls, who are a little bit easier, but I'm still pretty busy with them. They are 17 months old now, so getting closer to 2 years old. Anyway, but I was just saying, I have gotten a little bit of flack there when I've taken pictures and in the background people can see what kind of paints I'm using, because I use kind of cheap hobby paints that apply really well. I like them. They're maybe a little bit thick for some people's taste. I think you water them down enough and it's fine. I think some of it is just... I've gotten better about this as I've gone along, especially my earlier attempts at this. I would cake on a little thick because I didn't understand or appreciate that you're supposed to do multiple coats of things and not keep going over the same thing until it's applied as much as you want. That never looks good. It's caked on too hard. So you want to go back in and do multiple coats. With these really fine details, very often you don't really have to do that, but it kind of depends on what it is. But if it's spotty, no matter how small it is, you want to go back in and apply another coat to it. But I guarantee you, or at least this is my opinion anyway, if somebody really knows what they're doing, they can make this kind of paint and a lot of different kind of paint work. It's acrylic. It goes on fine on plastic, and I'm not a cheapskate. I would go for the more expensive stuff if I felt like I needed it. I've liked the way this applies. I kind of like using this. And I haven't messed with Citadel and stuff. There's one brand that is specifically for model paints. Let me see if we can figure out what it is. That is just, watery enough that I haven't had a great luck with it. Vallejo? Yeah, I've used this a little bit, and I've not had the best of luck with it. So that's why I've stuck with my thicker stuff, and I'll just dilute it myself. I don't know how interesting this is to anybody. I'm just talking about this because I'm doing it. Okay. Now I've got his other cuff. So that looks all right. And now I need to figure out what his gun looks like. Everybody's got a different gun. Oh, I got to do the middle of his belt, too, which I think is going to also be... Oh, it's silver. Okay. With some action figures, it's coming up white, the center of his belt here. But in the show, it is silver. Is what I'm seeing here. Yeah, see, that's silver. I'm actually not seeing the ones right now that came up white, but I saw that yesterday, where some of them were not silver in the center. Okay. I'll tell you, if we didn't have to worry about getting copyright flagged, I would have music on right now. I say that, though. Maybe you're listening to your favorite kind of music right now while I'm blabbering on, and I'd turn something on and you'd be like, oh, I hate that band, Cap. Why'd you pick that? Why do we have to listen to Whitesnake? I'm kidding. I wouldn't pick Whitesnake. I just thought of the first thing that came to mind that would irritate people. I mean, Whitesnake's fine if you like, 80s power ballads. Oh, this is another thing I probably could have taken right out of the cap and been lazy, and it would have been fine, but I did not do that, so... I'm used to needing a lot of silver when I use silver. And this time it's just this one detail. Right in the center here. Luckily, that round spot is the exact same as the rest of the belt buckle. So I don't have to do anything special with that. I have started buying more high-quality brushes. And for anybody that wants to get into this, Army Painter, Wargamer, this says. I guess you probably can't read that, but yeah. My light is too bright in front of me. But yeah, the Army Painter is the company, and I've been buying those from a local board game shop. So yeah, we've got his belt buckle there now. Senior 6, Cap, just play the Geekvolution themes. I mean, that wouldn't last very long. I could probably get away with some video game music. I thought about maybe turning on the Virtua Fighter soundtracks, because that's what we listen to a lot when we're playing the board game. But again, I'm just afraid if I started music, people would leave or booming in the comments and be like, look, now, I got Metallica going on, and you're messing up my flow. I don't think anybody that listens to Metallica would probably say messing up my flow. But anyway, okay, what does the top of this staff look like? Let's see. Thomas Ledbetter says this feels like Cap painting ASMR. I'm going to take that as a compliment, I've decided. Looking for the top of this staff. Oh, there's a really good close-up of it. Oh, cool. He's got a green eyeball. The top of the staff is a dinosaur head. I don't know if you can see it, but is the head of a T-Rex, of course, because he's Tyranno and Brachio. Okay, so a couple of fine details I have to do here. Am I going to go as far as to actually try to paint the teeth as tiny as this is with its mouth closed? I think I might, actually. Because that'll be silver too, and I've already got that out. And there's a little bit of silver in these points at the top of this. Yeah, so I'm going to paint this super tiny head. And then I'll see if I can show it to you guys when I'm finished with this. Okay, this is very tiny. I don't have any place to put my arms right now. I'm used to having a table in front of me that I can work at, but doing this for you guys at the desk, my setup's different. So bear with me a second. My head's going to be kind of down while I'm just looking for leverage. Now that's going to be subtle. Super subtle. Not anymore. I'm getting it everywhere. Hold on. Oh, there we go. I wipe off excess paint with my fingers all the time. All right, turning it around and getting the other side. This is going to look pretty cool. It didn't even occur to me when I started this figure that I was going to be painting tiny dinosaur teeth. You probably think when I'm doing this by myself, it's a lot quieter, where I don't have to try to keep things interesting for an audience. But I just talk to myself like this all the time. Whatever I'm doing. It's harder when I'm brushing my teeth, you know, because I've got a toothbrush in there. Okay. That was a joke. I don't talk to myself that much. And now... Oh, I forgot. I've got to do a little bit of silver detail at the top of this as well. If you just came in, welcome. I'm painting Dino Thunder Red for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. My absolute favorite board game. I'm not even a big board game guy, but I'm very, very big into this game. And it has just been wonderful in getting me into, breaking me into new hobbies that I never thought I would bother with. And I really have gotten more into games in general. I still don't think of myself as like really a board game or card game guy. Maybe I should because I'm doing this a lot. But I'm into the DC deck builder now, which I also have a lot of. I don't have everything, but I have quite a bit of. They did a Kickstarter for new stuff this last year that I didn't end up pledging to because I had so much money sunk into this, and I had just bought an arcade machine, and I didn't want to go, nuts with things, so I didn't. But they are doing, but I'm going to get as much of that as I can get my hands on after the fact. At the very least, I'm going to buy their new big box, I want to say expansion, but I think it stands on its own, kind of like Dark Knight's Metal did. Again, this is for the DC deck building game, but they're putting out a Injustice version, which I'm super excited about. That's going to be neat. And they're doing all this stuff for their 10th anniversary. I thought that game might be dying, and then they just announced all this cool new stuff for it. We also play a fair bit of Munchkin in my family, which I've been a big fan of going back to college. Nobody tell anybody, but I got Freddy, the big box. I keep saying big box, but that's what they are. The big Batman Munchkin game. That again is a standalone thing. All of Munchkin is standalone. I maybe there's some packs of extra cards for things, but it's not really an expansion game. Most of it you can blend together, and bazillions of variations on that game for the last 15 years or however long it's been around now. But Batman is one that's a little bit different because it has a board. There's a few they put out that it's a board game now, not just a card game, and I don't know how it plays differently from regular Munchkin, but I'm excited to find out. Hello, Jar Jar Ed. Tom Atkins board games got me into a whole phase. Oh, cool. What are your favorite kinds of games? I'd love to know. Senior Sticks, do you prefer the Saban eras or non-Saban? If you're talking about Saban getting licensed back with Neo Saban, of course, that's kind of a dark period, and I don't like much of what I've seen from that stuff. But if you're talking early Saban versus Disney era, my answer is my nostalgia mostly lies still in Mighty Morphin era, but the quality shows, writing-wise, are more in the Disney era. So, I think indisputably, if you want to, pit, even Space, as wonderful as that is for mythology, just writing-wise, characterization, character dimension, a show feeling a little bit closer to a real TV show, if you like, a regular TV show, a thing aimed at more like all ages, or at least teenagers before 5-year-olds. Indisputably, you can't really put anything in the Mighty Morphin era up against Time Force or Dino Thunder or SPD or RPM especially, even Wild Force, which I think is right before Disney era. Am I wrong about that? By the way, speaking of Wild Force, maybe I mentioned this in that stream I did the other day too, but one of the new characters that they put out recently in the last big release we got was the Silver Ranger. What is it? No. The color is silver, but what's it called? Lunar Wolf Ranger? Lunar Wolf Ranger from Wild Force, a show I had never seen before. And I played with him in the game and loved his cards and his aesthetic. He's like a pool-playing ranger. His signature weapon is a pool cue. It's awesome. And so I had to go watch his introductory couple of episodes, and I love him. He's awesome. Okay, let me grab real quick the green I need for this eye. And then we're going to be real close to done with this. I'm just going to need to do his gun. And then I'm thinking about switching gears and doing a Mighty Morphin monster that I've started, but haven't gotten the detail work done on yet. I've still got 2 more Dino Thunder Rangers to do. But I think it might be fun for you guys if we jump over to something else. This guy's looking okay. Okay, what do we want? Do we need light green? Not leaf green, certainly. Wish I was more organized here. This is like just a big box of crayons. Light green again. That might be what we have to resort to, because I've got sap green. Nope, we don't want sap green. Okay, we'll try this one. Grim Death Griffin, hi. Would you ever want a Power Rangers open world game? Oh, sure. That sounds fun. If you had, I don't know what exactly it would look like. I could see like a gallivanting around space kind of game with Power Rangers. Really just a Power Rangers in space game, I think, is the probably best candidate for an open world game. I don't know that you want something that was just like run around the city and fight monsters and stuff. You know, but maybe if it's like a big siege kind of game where putties are everywhere, whatever the big bad is, they've sent down all these monsters. It could work. It would be cool to get an RPG kind of thing, even though that's not really my favorite genre of video games, where you can choose to be good or evil as a Power Ranger. All right, now he's got his green eye. But it's not like Saba, where it talks. It does have a mouth that opens and roars sometimes. Okay, let's take a look at this. Sorry, folks, 1 second. Okay, so I just did... I'm trying to get this up here so you guys can see this. So I just did the top of his staff. He's got his silver teeth, his green eye. I might do a second coat on that green eye. I don't think it's coming out a lot. And then it looks about the same on the other side. It's hard to hold that still, but there it is. So that's what I just did. Senior 6, which in space, Cap, Galaxy, or original in space, or the Captain Force? I don't know what that means. Lost Galaxy, I have not spent enough time with to speak to. I just watched part of the pilot of that, though, the other day with my son, Mikey. Or at least I had it on. He was watching it. I was kind of busy doing stuff in the bunker here, but... quick plug for a video I did a couple weeks ago, or maybe was it early last week, where I just took my phone around the bunker live, showed off what this looks like now. I've done a bunch of done a bunch of work down here, added a bunch of new things. I've got purple lights down here now. I mean, I've had purple lights everywhere, but I have accent lights, but I've got Christmas lights up now that look really cool. The Pirate Power Rangers, yeah. Tom Atkins, my poor wallet. Jar Jar Ed says he likes playing Risk. My stepdad, the Jeff, is a huge Risk fan. Yeah, you're talking about the Sentais. I just haven't watched through any complete Sentai, and I've only really dealt with pilots for the 3 or 4 that I've sampled. It's mostly been pilots, and a little bit more of Zyuranger with Mighty Morphin, of course. Anyway, okay, so let me get this gun figured out. They're all different. Every show has a different color scheme for its guns. It looks like this one is, if the action figure is to be believed, this one is blue. Nope, sorry. That was the wrong display. There we go. Is that the actual color it is in the show, I wonder? There's another one. It must be, although I like the detail on that a little bit more. The Legacy figures and the Lightning figures are good resources, just pictures of those for colors, for photo reference. So yeah, we'll base it on that. Okay, so we're going to need more silver. I guess it's okay that I laid some silver out in my paper plate here, because I'm using it more than I thought I would. And see, his gun is just there in his holster. Well, I'd love to hear from folks. What are you doing for the Christmas holiday if you're celebrating Christmas or celebrating any other holidays this month? Are you going anywhere? Are you doing any exciting traveling? Are you doing any traveling that you dread? Feel free to mention depressing things you're not excited about dealing with for Christmas. As well, we don't all get to go where we'd most like to for Christmas. And that's not me lamenting my traveling. I love my wife's family. We all get along great. But I will say I'm dreading the traveling a little bit just because 5 kids in a car going 4.5 hours, which should be okay. A little bit easier now that the girls are older. But Sarah's mom lives in a farmhouse with a bunch of acreage, which is great, but it's a small house, and we're all kind of crammed into one room for a couple of days. And I don't know if anybody's going to get any sleep with the girls, but we'll see how it works out. Hopefully, it's not as bad as I'm anticipating. You know, you hope for the best and you prepare for the worst. Okay, I'm going to flip this way so that I've got a better sense of what this looks like versus this picture. The back of this is blue. See, the holster itself is in the way, so some of this I have to paint and some of it is blocked and I don't have to deal with, but I have to kind of paint around it. And then the holster itself is going to be a different color as well. Maybe also like a bronze or a copper. I'm finding myself using metallic paints all the time with Power Rangers. The nice thing is, of course, there's no right or wrong way to do this, really. It's for me. And so if I want to take creative liberties and change colors and stuff, I can. I do that some with monsters sometimes. I'll do it if I have variations where there's multiple sculpts of the same character. We've got that for a few things. There's multiple sculpts for several Mighty Morphin Rangers. So when Forever Rangers came out, which is the Rangers from the second season that replaced Trini and Zach and Jason, they're in different poses, but they're the same looking Rangers, of course. So I decided to do a variant thing with them, and I did battle damage Rangers, which was really fun. So I drew like cracks on the visors, and they've all got scuff marks all over them, and they've each got like flecks of green blood in various places, like they just fought a monster real hard and maybe lost. Because I think that'd be cool. I didn't want to be horribly graphic, so I didn't go with red blood, but I thought, if they got green slime on them fighting a monster, that would make sense and would look kind of cool. Like they got hurt, but, wouldn't freak out my children, right? But it still looks pretty brutal. So that was a lot of fun to do. And the Black Ranger, Adam, maybe I threw him under the bus a little bit. I had him get drenched on one side with the green goo or blood, what have you. And that was fun. Okay, I need to pull blue. I think it'll be this one. Cerulean in blue. These Artist Lofts paints, which you can get at really any hobby store, which is part of why I like to get them, because they're easy to find. I guess maybe most paint companies do this, but they call the names they come up with sound like Crayola crown names. Crayon names. I've had a hard time with the word crayon since I was a kid. People always make fun of me for it. Maybe I shouldn't point it out. It's like, Cap, are you saying crown? Like the thing you put on your head? But then if I think about it real hard and I try not to accidentally say it like that, I'll be like, crayon. And they're like, crayon? It's crayon. But then I'll say crayon. Maybe it's just a colloquial thing or something. Regional. I'll say crayon. And people are like, crayon? That's not how you say crown. Crayon. Crown. However you say that word. However you personally say that word. Okay, I'm doing the blue parts of this gun now. It's riveting, folks. Riveting blaster painting. Okay, I guess that's all of that. And then I got to do a little black in some places. And, again, some kind of metallic color. And then maybe I'll paint a monster. I'll paint a monster. It's fun to have company while I do this. Thomas, not going anywhere and excited to finish decorating. Well, it's the 20th, buddy. You got 5 days, but also worried about which family members will show up and the chaos that might ensue. Family politics, man. Yeah, it can be difficult. It can be tough. Jareth, I'm staying home with family. Thanks for responding to this, guys. This is fun, and hopefully watching some movies I haven't seen. I try to watch a different Christmas Carol every year. Yeah, don't watch them all in the same year. That Austin's family apparently does that, and that made him hate that story, and he doesn't like a Christmas Carol. He famously hates A Christmas Carol now. Senior Sticks, spending time with family, it won't be Festivus. Senior Sticks, farmhouse like Smallville, is there a barn? Is there a barn? They have like a tool shed. I can't remember if they have a barn. They have a chicken coop, but I don't think they have like a barn. And certainly not like a giant, Smallville-sized barn. Grimdeath, with all the armors Rangers have, you'd think it would be easy to give characters accessories for this game. Yeah, have you played the game Grimdeath? I'm just curious. The board game? Is that what we're talking about? Or do you mean for our hypothetical open world game? And yeah, in the game proper, they're in the Here's the Grid, everybody's got one, what I like to call heavy hitter, 3 energy cost, which is the highest cost you pay for anything in the game. And that's usually their signature weapon. And then a lot of teams have something like a Blade Blaster, or Mighty Morphin had the Blade Blaster, and then different teams have different kinds of blasters that usually do a similar thing where you pay however much energy you want, and then that will do direct damage and to enemies, and can spread across cards usually, which is cool. Casey, do you paint Warhammer too? I've not gotten into Warhammer. No, this whole thing was never my bag. I always thought it was real cost prohibitive, and painting was a hobby that I couldn't see myself getting into. I thought it was too intricate. I thought it was too tiny. I don't have a lot of patience for, this sort of art, and it just wasn't something I thought would ever appeal to me. And then we got it for Power Rangers, which is one of my favorite things, especially aesthetically, and I couldn't help but get curious about trying every aspect of it. When I tried the game and fell in love with the mechanics of it, I went, okay, I've got these figures and they're unpainted, and it might be interesting, to try to do it myself. And just characters that I never thought I would get an action figure for, much less get to do my own kind of little take on it and paint them. And so I did, and I fell in love with it. And a lot of it has to do, I freely admit, with the intellectual property. And so it would have to be probably the right thing I was already really interested in, although I could see myself getting together with somebody that was really into something like Warhammer and trying it out. I'm typically not like a big fantasy guy, so the aesthetics of that kind of stuff doesn't tend to really appeal to me too much. But Now that I've done it with something that I was already really into, if a game appealed to me enough, maybe I could find myself, going the other way with it. There is a Batman game that's set in Arkham Asylum. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a variation on a different game that I bought a year ago. It was $100. I staved it off for the longest time. I got some birthday money. I got really excited to finally get my hands on that, and I went ahead and splurged and bought it. And I still haven't played it, but it has miniatures also, and part of the reason I wanted to buy it was to get to paint those, because it's a bunch of, I think it's like 10 or 12 figures, and I think there's a Batman you paint, but then beyond that, it's just all Arkham Asylum villains, so inmates. So you get to play, you get to paint Harley Quinn and Two-Face and Joker and Scarecrow, I think, and I'm really excited to get into that, and I've got to learn that soon. I've had that, a year and a half now, and I still like, how has it been that long? And I still haven't tried to learn how to do it. Anyway, okay, I've got to finish this gun here. I'm taking forever on this, just chatting with you guys, which is fun, and I'm not complaining, but I don't want to make this boring for anybody. Okay. I'm using this as much as an excuse to chat with you guys as I am just getting a little bit of this knocked out finally, because it's been so long since I've done it. I have an embarrassing number of figures I still haven't painted, but there's so much to do, especially foot soldiers. God, and they take forever. A lot of people just do like one quick splash of paint. They don't even bother with the details. I kind of want to do everything. I kind of want to get it all looking as good as I, with my limited skill set, am capable of doing. My wife did get me an airbrush for my birthday a couple of years ago to make some of this go a little bit faster, and because that looked like fun, and I wanted to learn how to use an airbrush. And I don't know if the problem is the compressor or what. I bought another compressor for it, and it just spurts paint everywhere. I can't get it to like aim properly the way it's supposed to. It just comes out and like splotches and goes everywhere. I don't know what the problem is with it. That'd be quite a stream. Which is ironic, because we wouldn't actually get a stream of paint. It would just splotch everywhere. This is kind of hard to do without a place to set it. I need to get, what are this called? The like bases that you clamp the bottom of the figure to when you paint. I just haven't found one. I haven't seen one at the store that I sometimes frequent in a while. I almost bought the one they had at one point, and then I ended up passing on it. I guess I could just order one, but I just haven't prioritized it. I may have to go back in with red with this if I get outside of the circle at all, although I'm getting lucky with it so far. We're almost there. Hey, I managed it. Cool. You're not going to be able to see that really on this camera, I don't think. It's a very tiny detail, but I'll throw it up on the other one, show it to you. Yeah, this camera I can't get to autofocus for some reason, so I have to manually change the focus, which is irritating. But let's see if I can show that to you. Get it right up here. Yeah, it's a little splotchy. I'm going to have to go back in red a little bit with it maybe, but it worked out better than I thought it would. So that's exciting. Senior 6, Captain Geeky item you don't have is DC and Marvel chess set. I have a Batman chess set. It's not like metal or pewter pieces or anything like that. I don't have any really expensive Marvel or DC chess set. I had a Marvel chess set at one point, which was also plastic pieces. So, like, I technically do have a Marvel and DC chess set, but not any of the really, expensive, valuable ones or anything like that. The TWW podcast, are these Heroes of the Grid figures? Yes, indeed, they certainly are. And you guys are making me really want to do more content for this game as folks are popping out of the woodwork and actually knowing what this is and what we're doing. I'm like, there's like, it wouldn't get a lot of views. They wouldn't do super well compared to, some other things we do on the channel, but I don't care, man. If I had a tiny audience for this and I had the time and I could do it on like a weekly basis, I would, man. I'd paint all the time, and I do game streams all the time, solo streams. I occasionally streams with my kids. I am so tempted to just like make the time somehow to do it more often. He said something else too. If there was, and welcome, by the way, if you've not been here before, it's so good to see you, and thanks for chatting with me. If there was one Power Ranger SZN you could remove from the franchise, what SZN would it be? Okay, you'll have to pardon my. Hold on, I've got to mod my own chat here. You'll have to pardon my ignorance. I don't know what that acronym means right off the bat. SZN. I feel like I should right away know what that is, and I don't. Would somebody please tell me what SZN stands for? And I know I'm going to hit myself in the head and be like, I'm an idiot. I don't know what we're talking about. Somebody else wanted to... Thomas Ledbetter. I already finished decorating my space weeks ago, but my parents are still working on the big tree in the living room. Well, that can take time, certainly. And I didn't mean to make fun too hard because I just finally put up my Christmas decorations like 3 or 4 days ago. It was like the 15th or 16th. I finally got my tree up. Oh, season. Okay, cool. What seasons? Oh, so he means season, series, yeah. Removed from the franchise. Megaforce is the easiest kind of culprit to go to. Really, a lot of the Neo Saban stuff. Like, I enjoyed Dino Charge, what I saw of it. It was closer to having what I've always said is the Power Rangers spark, especially from the Disney era, as any of that Neo Saban stuff had before Hasbro got it and we got into Beast Morphers, which is several rungs above, I think, what that stuff was. I haven't seen all of that show. I watched, I think, all the first season, and I've seen bits and pieces of the second. I've got issues with it. I don't like some of the stuff they did with earlier lore and stuff, but anyway, so to answer your question, it'd be most of that. It'd be Megaforce, and it'd be Samurai. But then things before that, I can't speak to some of the seasons people say are really terrible because I'm spotty with my Power Rangers. I haven't watched everything. So Overdrive, I've never seen, but people say, horrible things about Operation Overdrive. It is lamented all the time. The worst thing in Mighty Morphin era was Turbo, of course, and yeah, I'd probably axe that, which is sad because there's a lot of really great Sentai footage in Turbo. You go back to that, and some of those action scenes are nuts. Some of the chase stuff and like off-road vehicle things they did in that show, you wonder how in the world that Sentai pulled off some of that stuff. And there's like Bulk and Skull as monkeys and really awful, even for Power Rangers, just insanely cringeworthy plots and dialogue. It's like a thing that was already a farce degenerates into a parody of itself. I don't know how such a thing is possible. It already basically is, but that's what that felt like. Okay, I've got to finish this gun. Am I done with this gun? I think I'm about done with this gun. Okay, he's as done as he's going to be right now. I will probably mess with him, monkey with him a little bit more later. Let me look at his staff really quick and see if there's anything with the end of the bottom of this that I didn't do. Here's a cool deviant art piece I just found with Dino Thunder red. I like that. That's pretty. Good job, whoever made that. I guess I could click on it and find out. But let me try to get photo reference for the bottom of the staff. I just keep seeing like the top and the middle of it. Legacy Wars has... Oh, you know what? There's some... Is that silver? No. I needed to get bronze back out anyway, and I forgot about it. So I'll do that real quick. And then I'll move on. Thank goodness for some of the art in Legacy Wars. It really helps out. That's a phone game that I used to play all the time, and my son Freddie still plays quite a bit. I had to give up on it because, I think, just as far as I was going to skill-wise, where it became impossible to win fights, but also it was addictive, and I wasn't getting work done, and that thing was eating up time. DJ and I were playing that together for a while. We figured out a way to stream it from our phones, and we've threatened forever to do a stream on that. I don't know how far up I want to take this. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I forgot. I've got to do the holster for this gun. There it is. Yeah, we're getting into the wee hours of the night here. Some folks have already had to go to bed, it seems like. Because I know there's a lot of folks on the East Coast. So it is 1:30 where you are. But I think I am still going to try to paint at least a little bit of a monster here. Grimdeath, I like the Rescue Megazord that came in later in Turbo. I don't right off remember what that looks like. Turbo Rescue Megazord. So much photo stuff, photo reference at our fingertips. Oh, yes. No, that was a super bulky one. Yeah. Yeah, look at that thing. Look at that monstrosity. It looks like it, ironically, being cars, it looks like it would have to probably move at about the pace as the Shogun Megazord, I would imagine. Man, I wish I could get this camera to autofocus. That drives me crazy. Okay, so that's Jareth. I'm still here, and it's almost 1:30 a.m. Well, thanks for staying up. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you don't end up with too much sleep deprivation because you decided to watch a grown man paint Power Rangers. Okay, now we're going to take a look at King Sphinx. There's King Sphinx. Look at him in all of his sphinxy glory. Jonathan Ying, the designer of the game, who came on the Captain Logan show a few months ago with me, graciously hung out with us for like an hour and a half. It was a wonderful show. Ooh, I really like what that looks like on camera, too. That's neat. We did some dry brushing on him. And, yeah, my mom actually did this first base coat, and then I can't remember if I dry brushed it or she did, but I really love the color of this. This would look neat on the board just like it is, but, like, I'm going to go ahead and, do his details. But anyway, Jonathan Ying was like, it was nuts that we didn't have him earlier in the board game because he was merchandised so hard at the beginning of Mighty Morphin. He had he was one of the only monsters early on that got a figure, and he was in all the, you know, board games at that point and stuff. And he explained it on the show. I don't remember all the details now, but it was a long time before he finally came out. So it's neat that we've got him now. But anyway, there he is, and I'm going to pull up photo reference for him and get started. I'm not going to finish him tonight. I don't know how much longer I'm going to stream. Probably not more than another half hour. King Sphinx. Jareth, don't worry, I already have sleep problems. I can relate a little. I've had points in my life where I've had, you know, kind of bouts of insomnia. And at the very least, I do have kind of an issue where I'm such a night owl that it will be really easy for me to stay up late and, you know, not too difficult to finally go to sleep. But then if I'll be sleep deprived and not realize it. Like, it'll be affecting like my mood, memory, and stuff. And I'm like, why do I feel like this? Oh yeah, I only got like 4 hours of sleep last night. And so what I'll do is I'll stay up late knowing I should go to sleep, but not really feel like it. It's not insomnia. Again, I've had that before, but usually it's not that. It's just I don't want to go to sleep. Like, some of it is just the house is quiet and I can do things now. I don't have distractions. I don't have kids running around and you know, responsibilities that I have to deal with. And I'm not complaining. I don't mean to whine about, you know, my life and the bed I've intentionally made for myself and my responsibilities to my family, because it's wonderful. But it is really nice to have time like this to just do what you feel like doing, right? And work on projects and stuff. And so then I'll get up in the morning and I'll be up a good hour, a couple hours, and just really need a nap, like real bad. And so I'll want to sleep all day, but I'll want to stay up all night, and it's just backwards. Good night, Senior Sticks. Jareth, I live off of 4 hours of sleep. There was a time in my life where I could kind of do that. Not anymore. I have learned the hard way that it is unhealthy for me to try to do that, and not good for anybody else around me. Okay, I'm trying to decide how exactly I want to do the colors here. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at here. So yeah, he's got this crazy stuff going on with his wings. That's going to be wild. Although it'll be easier on this figure than in what I'm looking at, because these dots, they almost look like bird faces, like inside of his wing. It's interesting. But these, I've never looked that close at this character before. The details are real simplified on the figure. Like these things on the shoulder, not all of that are there. I think this is from... Is this the Lightning Collection figure or another one? This is an action figure we're looking at here. But yeah, these eyes on the individual feathers are not there. So all we have to deal with is the colors above and below. I don't even know how I'm going to do that, because it only separates... Here, I'll try to show this to you. It only separates in one place, in the middle. Whereas in that picture that we just looked at, it looks like it's 3 colors. It's pink, blue, and yellow. I might check out how some other folks have done this just to get a sense of how I want to do it. Not to copy anybody, but you know, just to get some I don't know, some sense of perspective on this. Heroes of the Grid. I'm not seeing a paint job here. I might have to go to the Facebook group, Heroes of the Grid. Okay, there's one. Oh, there's a guy who didn't do all those individual colors. And I like what he did here. Um, I don't usually go for the real heavy black lines, like trying to make it look more like a 2D uh, like drawn image. But I like it. It's cool. Okay. I'm not totally sure how exactly I want to handle this yet. So I think I'm probably going to start on, because I don't want to go too, I don't think like cartoony, bright and colorful with it. I almost want to go a little bit more understated if possible. Is this going to be another one where I go with, pardon me, with like metallic colors? Because that might look cool just with the dry brush effect that we already have on this. Real quick before I get started on this guy, Burned In, I put in a $9.99 super chat. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you, man. Thanks for the support. So did you see The Fabelmans yet? One of the year's best films. I'm sure Connor freaked out about the ending to you already. I have not talked to Connor about that movie. I haven't even heard of that, honestly. I am real out of touch when it comes to smaller movies right now and independent stuff. So yeah, maybe I've heard the title. I don't know anything about that movie. So sorry I can't speak to that right now. But thank you for letting me know about it, and I will try to check that out. And I'll message Connor and see if he thinks I should give that a watch. But it sounds like I probably should. Okay, just pulling up some more photo reference for this. King Sphinx. Sphinxy King. So yeah, with the monsters, like I said, I feel like I can take a lot more creative liberties and be happy with the job than with the Rangers, which I like being more accurate, especially if it's stuff that I grew up with and care about. I have a feeling this guy is going to take me 2 or 3 days to do. There's a lot of intricate line work here. And I gotta be honest with you, I am looking at this and trying to decide if I want to do outlines in between some of the crevices with like musculature and stuff. I'm not gonna do it yet though. I think I'm gonna start with the head maybe and move my way down. But I think I am gonna maybe go with metallic colors on this and see how that looks. So let's pull out a metallic green and a metallic yellow. Or do I want to do yellow? Gold would look really cool too. Maybe I'll do that instead of yellow. That is a notion. It won't pop as much, but I think it would look really neat if I just did him all real metallic-y, which I've done with a couple other things too. I am a little bit worried that maybe I'm doing too much italics. There's so many italics. No, that I'm doing too much metallic. Beetleborg's metallics. I need a metallic green. Oh, here we go. How convenient. A metallic green. Oh, it's the new Spielberg film. Okay. Yeah, I heard he'd put something out. I forgot what it was called. Thank you. See, now I feel dumb, but I haven't heard anybody talk about it. So, like I said, I've been a little bit out of the loop, busy with family stuff, and haven't been on the Discord and things all that much lately. Yeah, let's try him in gold. He's going to look real different. But that's how I sometimes like it. So let's try it out. Like I said, I kind of wanted to go a little bit more understated with this one and not insanely brightly colored, which is unlike me. Like, I like my wild and crazy bright colors, but... Okay, it looks like it starts with green on the bottom. Sorry, there's like indented bits in between all these lines. Sorry, I haven't even gotten started on this yet, but I'm just trying to decide how exactly I even want to approach it before I get rolling. Let's see. I'm going to count this real quick. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah. So green on the bottom and fill in with gold in between them. Let's try that. The nice thing is, if it looks stupid, I can always paint over it. I've also seen King Sphinx as sorry, it's getting late. I'm starting to fade a little bit. As a counterpart to Goldar. And so I like the idea of trying to paint him that way. I always get these goofy ideas when I'm doing the monsters, where I'm like, this is really counterintuitive and probably not going to work out. And a lot of them end up being pretty neat when I'm done with them. So I've been trying to kind of go with my instincts more lately. I was going to say I'm making things harder for myself because gold is harder to apply and, get to show up and look the way you want it to. But then yellow can be that way too. And I haven't tried this yet, really. I think I did it with one. I've heard that the right way to apply yellow, because it doesn't show great on top of most colors, is to not put it on top of whatever the color is that you've already got there, but unless it's pink, but put pink underneath it first. Apparently, yellow applies easier to pink, I guess, because it's already a lighter color. So do one coat in pink on top of whatever it is that you've got already, or leave those parts blank if possible. But like if you do, let's say, you do a whole coat of green or something, don't paint pink on top of, or I'm sorry, yellow on top of green. Do pink first on top of green. And I could be doing that with this gold, but it's showing up okay. Jareth, have you watched any Batman films since the Batman came out? Yeah, I've watched Mask of the Phantasm a couple times this year. I watch Begins probably 2 or 3 times a year still, even though I don't rewatch movies as much as I used to. I've seen Batman Forever at least twice this year. So yeah, fair bit. And of course, I reviewed Batman Returns again as a re-review earlier this year, but that actually might have been before the Batman came out. I forget. I think it was. Now that I'm saying that. I watched Under the Red Hood with my son. We stayed up late one night a couple months ago, and he just loved that movie. It was great going back to that. That was a really fun experience, watching him watch that for the first time. So yeah, I'm going to try to do as much of his head, at least, as possible before I call it a night. But this has been a lot of fun, doing this, chatting with you guys. And of course, I love streaming in general. I'm addicted to it now. For better or worse, this is what the channel has turned into, a streaming channel. I still review all the time. I still do commentaries all the time. We still talk about what's going on in geeky news and kind of speculate about the future. But I really like doing it live now. Jareth, I'm wondering what it's going to be like going back to them because the Batman really felt like real Batman. It hasn't really colored anything for me, and I agree with that too. Yeah, for the most part, certainly. I mean, there's still. I really like that version, and there's a lot of stuff from comics. Again, I've talked about this a lot, particularly with detective stuff that we finally have got in a live action Batman movie that we hadn't before. But I've always seen Batman as so versatile that it is still, to me, another version and not even the definitive version. Because definitive Batman for me, like the Batman that is my Batman, or the closest thing you'll ever get to what I think of as Batman in comics, is Batman animated series Batman, of course. And so, a lot of people feel that way. And I just don't know that you'll ever see that fully recreated. And there's, in live action, and we're pulling from so many different things with the Batman that it just makes all of these different Batman projects that we have now feel more complete. Like just the pantheon of all of that. It feels like this was one that we needed. It puts a bunch of different Batman things in a blender, and then we ended up with something really fresh and new out of it. But it doesn't make me go back to other Batman things I like and go, oh man, this is harder to appreciate now because it's not real Batman. So much as I go, I don't know. I don't even want to say it makes me enjoy them more, but I really, but in some ways maybe it makes it easier. The things that don't feel as much like real Batman to me, like Nolan's Batman, which I love, but is, he has such a different take on it, where it's like, since this exists, and at one time people thought of as and some people still do, of course, the definitive version of Batman, it's really nice that something closer to the comic Batman that I grew up with is now on screen to counterbalance that, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make. Okay, and then we've got to do his beard. He's got like a King Tut thing going on. That's red at the bottom, which is gnarly. I like this in gold, folks. Okay. What else can I do with this gold before I move on to another color? His snake on top of his head. He has a snake, and it's green at the top, and it's yellow underneath. And everything in yellow, I've decided to go with gold, because I'm doing a metallic thing with this, I've decided. We're painting King Sphinx, folks. Look at all the gold I'm doing with him. I'll give you a closer look at this right before I finish up here tonight. I stopped everything to answer a question about Batman, so I'm going to try to pick up the pace on this a little bit. So, black inside the mouth, black on the nose. Oh, this guy's going to be so much fun to paint. Let's move over to the green. Like in Swamp Thing, the green. Burned In, I'm assuming the Fabelmans. Did it just come out? Is it? I'm assuming it being a Spielberg thing, it's just in the theater. If I hear enough good things, I might try to rush out and go see that before I go out of town. I haven't been to the theater in a while. Jareth, I'm afraid Nolan's trilogy won't hold up for me because he's actually Bruce Wayne, not Batman. I can like all versions, though. Sure. I mean, that's fair. Wow, the contrast with this metallic green and the gold is really cool looking. I get excited about this, particularly with the monsters and the bosses, because I know that no one's is going to look exactly like mine. Because again, it's so easy to take liberties and still be authentic to the color schemes and stuff. Whereas, a lot of the Rangers are going to look more or less the same. There's a lot more interpretation. Like I keep saying liberties, but there's also just interpretation you have to do with some of this because you'll have kind of inconsistencies with stuff where you'll have looks that are quite a bit different between the show and if it ever showed up in the comics, and color schemes vary wildly with action figures when you're looking at classic monsters like King Sphinx or like Eye Guy or who is in the game or who else? Pumpkin Wrapper is more or less the same everywhere, but who's what? Madame Woe. You see a lot of different interpretations. Nasty Knight. And then some of them have kind of boring color schemes in the first place, so you want to kind of mess around a little bit and make it more exciting. And you see that in action figures too, where the people making products thought that too, where it's like, we can't just make it one color. That's not going to fly off shelves. You know what? I'm actually going to have to go gold at the top of this too, it looks like. And it's gold around his head too, isn't it? Okay, so I got to go back to that. Tom Atkins, even on aesthetic level, I kept thinking Robert looked like a mix of Darwin Cook, Jim Lee, and Greg Capullo's Batman. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't had that thought, that exact mix of looks. Yeah, Cook, Jim Lee, and Greg Capullo. Capullo I can see more than anybody, certainly. But yeah, in my mind, it was not any particular artist, except for maybe Breyfogle, but like any of the guys that were, just because Breyfogle's my favorite, but any of the guys that were drawing Batman in the late 80s, early 90s, I thought we got more of a sense of that style than anything in that movie. Okay, here's what he looks like so far. Here, I gotta get my focus thing back up again. God, I wish it would autofocus, but it's not, and I don't know why. What do you think so far, folks? Does the gold look good, or should I have gone with the straight yellow? That's the standard for this character. This is King Sphinx, everybody. really wasn't sure if anybody would pop in to hang out with me while I just paint Power Ranger figures. But it has been so nice to have folks to chat with. You're making me want to do more of this kind of thing. We're going to create a monster while we're painting a monster. Isn't that exciting? We're breaking new niche-y ground here. Jareth says he likes the gold. Tom Atkins says looks great. Grimdeath likes it. Cool. I'm gonna keep going for that. Busted Sim. Whenever people talk about camera focus issues, my brain immediately goes to Professor in Futurama. Yeah. Busted Sim also says it looks good. Okay, I'm gonna keep with this gold then. I'm not fishing for compliments. I just wanted opinions. Because if it looks stupid, I can change it. I have the power. I will probably try to do a stream when I paint the Zordon Dice Tower. And I haven't decided how exactly I'm doing that yet. So I haven't painted it, but I've had it for a while now, and I haven't painted it. And I've been excited about it because my favorite things to do were the big deluxe figures. And we've only had 3 of them. There's a Megazord, there's Goldar, who I broke a wing on. I dropped him from a high place and the wing popped off, and I glued it back on, and he's together now, but he doesn't look the same, and it makes me sad. But anyway, and I never thought we'd get another big figure because they're not planning on doing any more of those deluxe ones. Oh, and Cyclopsis. What did I say? Gold. Yeah, I just interrupted myself because of Goldar. But yeah, the Megazord, Goldar, and Cyclopsis. And I didn't think I'd ever get to paint one that big again. And then we got the Zordon Dice Tower, who opens up, and you can paint the Zordon face inside. And it would be pretty cool to do a stream when I do that. These lines behind his head just keep going. I keep getting outside of the camera here, but you guys can't really see the detail I'm doing here anyway. Working on the back of his head here, just because it kept going. Maybe it's just because it's late and I'm getting tired. I don't even know what triggered this memory. But you ever do working on something, or you just concentrating really hard, and suddenly you have not deja vu, but just like a flashback to another part of your life, and you can't really connect in your brain how that has anything to do with what you're doing right now. Like, I had this moment where I was remembering a class that I was taking in college. It's nothing to do with art or painting or anything. And I think I've mentioned this on line before, or on the channel before, on a video. But in, what was it, 07, probably, 07 and 08, I had to have a PE elective. I had an English degree. I don't know why I had to have that, but I had to have that. And I took this because I thought it was funny, but also because it was a game I like. They did in the PE department, they had a DDR class, a Dance Dance Revolution class, no joke. And I took it, and it was awesome. And I was in crazy good shape playing DDR all the time and trying to do tournaments and stuff. It was the geekiest possible class I could have taken in college. It was great. And I don't know why, I just suddenly found myself transported there and thinking about that. How strange. How strange, Cap. Why are you talking about this? I don't know. busts in battle damaged Goldar. There's part of me that wants to buy another Goldar, so that I've got a not battle damaged one, and just for the excuse to paint him again, because that was fun. I could do some kind of variation on it. But yeah, maybe, because one thing I thought about doing was breaking the other wing off, you know, in an intentional way so it doesn't ruin the figure. And then I'd have a variant where he's missing his wings. Because Goldar doesn't have his wings at the beginning of the show. And then Zedd gives them back to him when he shows up. I've got like 5 more minutes, I think. I'm going to try to finish this face if I can. Let me pull out some black. Where is my black? Like I said, I need to get more organized than this. It's always just fumbling through trying to find colors. I am probably the least organized person I know. Except when it comes to my actual Heroes of the Grid game stuff. Yeah, I just have all these ideas for videos specifically about that game. I'd love to do a tutorial just showing how I did my organization system. Because a lot of people are using the deck box that came with one of the Kickstarters, and you can buy it outright still. And the game is so big now, there's so many cards, a lot of people have had to buy a second box. And it looks cool, and I like the box. I use the dividers in my system now, but I don't use the actual box. And it would be really cumbersome and take too long to pull things out, even with the, you know, because they have like stickers that you can put on dividers and separate out all your characters. But my system is so much faster because I have these plastic boxes with smaller boxes in them, and I have all mine labeled too. But you pop these individual boxes out, and they have a few sets of decks in them that are by different categories. And I have a hero box and a villain box. At some point, I want to do a video just showing my system and how quickly I can find things with it. Like, I literally just take these boxes with hundreds of cards in them, put them on my lap, pop them open, find my decks, and close them again. And that might be useful to, like, 2 people on the planet. And those 2 people need that video. You know? Okay. I'm going to paint his nose black, because that's the color of his nose. But see, some of the ideas I have would probably require editing. I probably couldn't do his live shows. And so I would have to break the live streak if I put them on Geekvolution. But that's also such a niche topic. Like, I know I've done some things on that game, but just to suddenly start putting out tons of Heroes of the Grid stuff on the channel, I'm not sure how smart that would be either, so I don't know. I'm spitballing. I'm clearly very preoccupied by this. It's a very silly thing to be preoccupied by. Okay, I gotta try to get inside his mouth here. Okay, well, I painted the inside of his mouth black. I'm not sure that it's even gonna show up very well, but and then I probably need to go a different color for his teeth than the rest of his face. But he's gray. I'm not sure what to do with his teeth, because I don't want to go like bright white. Maybe some kind of off-white if I have anything like that. Or maybe I'll dilute a white a little bit with something. I don't know. Hayden Spring, I told you on another stream about an idea of watching a Sentai and then trying to think of how to adapt it. Thought any more about that? Yeah, I have been kicking that around. I would love to do that, and thanks for reminding me about it. Because I don't know what the Sentai would be and what format I would do, if I would just kind of spitball, in a live stream, or if I would... I mean, I would come prepared with some notes, I'm sure, or if I would do something more polished with it. But yeah, I've given thought to it enough to think I would really like to do that. It's a cool idea. Tom Atkins, totally off subject, but I have been reading a bunch of Superman comics lately. I'm now convinced that the Earth 1 suit is what James Gunn should go with for his reboot. I agree wholeheartedly. And I think he should look at that material and consider, if not straight adapting that, taking some of the ideas and attitude and characterization from that book. And not everybody agrees with me, but I personally would like to see that. Do I want this slightly larger brush for the teeth? I think so. All right, guys, I am going to finish up here. And by finish up, I mean paint teeth and then probably go to bed. Maybe I'll do a little bit more the top of his head real quick, but no, the white's looking okay. I might go back in and it's going to be too small to dry brush, but I might put some flecks of black or gray in it just so that it doesn't look like he's been brushing every day. Because it is a little bit of a weird image to imagine King Sphinx has been brushing every day. King Sphinx, how do you take care of your teeth? I just chew Trident. That's all I do. That's amazing, King Sphinx. Do you get like a special giant Trident gum, or do you just chew a lot of it? No, they custom make it specifically for me. Wow, that sounds expensive. It sounds expensive, King Sphinx. Oh, you just promise you won't eat their whole family. Oh, well, that's a strategy. Sure. Okay. You know what? Just because it'll look cool for you guys before we finish, let me find some metallic red if I can. Or I could just do scarlet. Do I want it? Do I need it to be metallic? I don't know if you'd even be able to tell with it that small. How loud and irritating is that, probably? Yeah, let's go metallic. Okay. Busted Sim, Go Kiger is maybe so obvious because it's so bad. And yeah, this is a lot of stuff I just don't know about yet. I haven't spent enough time with it. Hayden Spring, I also wanted to do Kamen Rider because I like that franchise more than Sentai. Oh, fair enough. No, this idea of me trying to adapt some of that stuff sounds like a lot of fun. It just kind of pitches. I wouldn't mind that either, Jareth Gerhardt. He says he'd like to see him adapt Grant Morrison's New 52 run. And then actually like finish it. Like have a resolution. It'd be good. I'm hoping we get Bottle City a Candor pretty early. All right, let's give them... Oh, okay, we'll do the red on the bottom of his beard here. That's cool. Oh, man, he's going to be really neat. I'm not going to be able to wait to finish him, I don't think, tomorrow. I'm probably going to work on this right after lunch when the girls are taking a nap. some of this extremely nerdy stuff we've been talking about, some of you guys are probably like, God, Cap, like, get a life. And I'm like, no, I have that. This is my escape. Not escape. That's too strong of a word, you know? Like, because I like my life. I love my family and my kids and all that. But it's like a reprieve. It's just another thing to do. Get your mind off of stuff. Ooh, I do want to try. Oh, but I want to try Hayden Springs. I don't know if you can adapt Gaim, because I love what I've seen of Gaim, the Kamen Rider with the fruit. I'd love to try to adapt that. I'm not totally sure if you can either, just because the mythology of that show is so wrapped up in all of it. I don't really know what you do with the human segments, but Hayden Spring, shut up, family. I gotta go paint Goldar again. Exactly. No, the kids would be excited. They want to help. I was gonna do green on the top of this. I'm gonna need to find some photo reference for the back of the head, because I don't know if that helmet is green behind. I would assume it must be, but I'm gonna figure that out later probably. Okay, where did I put my metallic green? I thought, oh yeah, I did leave it out. What is phthalo green? PHTH. Is it something halo? Halo. I don't know how to pronounce that. Phthalo green. Okay. Phthalo. Maybe that makes less, or like more sense when it's not 1 a.m, but I don't understand that. Gaim is my favorite tokusatsu series, says Hayden Spring. Oh, man. You've got me. And I got to find a way to watch the rest of it, because there's only a couple episodes on YouTube, but I had that on a thumb drive at one point that Eric gave me, but I don't know where that is now, because he turned me on to that years ago. Oh, man. I want to do that. That sounds like so much fun. Okay, guys. I'll show you what I've done with his head so far. I think he's looking pretty rad, if I do say so myself. Yeah, I really didn't want to go with bright cartoony colors. I wanted to do something a little bit more understated. And I don't even know if understated is the right word for this, but it's different, and it's all metallic-y, and it's pretty cool. Let me get my focus thing set up again. I can show you guys this. Okay, so here is my King Sphinx head. There he is. What do you think? He's got pretty white teeth. He's got pearly whites there. I might do something else to that, but the color scheme is cool. Obviously, I got to touch it up. You know, it's a little sloppy, but yep, he is pretty fun. But it's in that color is one Bob Ross always uses. Is that right? I can't even say it. I don't even know how to pronounce it. There he is. Trying to keep him from falling off the desk. Okay, guys. I am going to get going, but thanks so much for hanging out, and I hope you enjoyed it. I will come back for hopefully at least one more stream before I leave town on Friday, and then I'll be out of pocket all the way up until probably the first of the year. I may have a day or two when I get back where I'll have a little bit of downtime and I'll feel like checking in with you guys, but for the most part, I'm going to be dealing with family stuff and wrapping presents and all that good stuff. Oh, thanks, Jareth. man, it was really fun and relaxing spending some time with you guys. Thanks so much for being here, and I'm going to get going. But I will see you again, hopefully, in the next day or two for at least one more stream. I might do just a kind of standard Q&A thing, apart from the regular Captain Logan show, or I've kicked around doing a special with DJ if he's got time to come in, so maybe tomorrow or Wednesday, I'll be here just myself or with somebody else, or I might just do a solo Heroes of the Grid game. I'm doing all this impromptu. It kind of just depends on what mood I'm in. But anyway, thanks again for being here, folks, and I will see you real soon. Busta Sim says, yeah, this is pretty chill. Thanks, man. It's fun to do that kind of thing every now and again. All right, I'm going to get going. Bye, everybody. Good night. See you later.